26 are in a leadership role, so you've been through 5 decades now.
You know, leaders today first there's more of them because there's more interest, there's more
Sure.
groups, so and a lot more people are filling that role in smaller areas. But the bigger leaders are the mayoral candidates or people that are running for offices are are under so much more scrutiny that you're going to have to really have a tough skin to put up with that, where a lot of the leaders of the past, we now find out that, hey, they were humans too, but during their time period, whatever they were doing was not well known at the time, and they were almost edified, and some of the things that are happening today just remind you how human people are. And
history was kind to them.
Yes,
so to
very
speak.
much so.
If you were granted 2 weeks right today, Joe, of course you're driving your own bus. I loved it when I got that email. I'm out and off in Romania. It tickled me because I thought this guy just does everything. So many multi-interests. If you were granted 2 weeks right today, for whatever reason, your brother Rocky, whomever said, look, turn off the BlackBerry, get lost, turn off the email, come back in 2 weeks. Who would you take with you? Where would you go?
Okay, well, now that I got the Romania trip out of the way, I would take my wife and son, and we would go to Montana and Idaho, and neither one of us have ever stepped foot in that part of the country, and she just would love to go out there, and we have a friend who has offered to let us stay at their home at the Big Sky. And
that's great.
so I think I'd fly out to Montana, and then maybe I'd run a mobile home, and I'd go to Yellowstone, and I'd go to Mount Rushmore, and I'd hit all those, the North Dakota, Idaho, Wyoming, kind of travel around that part of the country.
Now, I was going to ask you, you brought some objects here. I believe that's the T-shirt.
That's the shirt that you get if you volunteer to work on Extreme Makeover home building site. There are thousands of these shirts around town. You've heard my talk. I wear them when I speak because you never see the shirts around, because people are keeping them as trophies. And this shirt is signed by all the designers.
That's great.
And even though they just kind of come in your life and they leave again, you do something that's so profound and so life-changing that you have a bond with them. And I still get emails saying some of them saying how much they enjoyed being in Louisville. And I still think one day, if the show managed to survive, that they'll find another family in Louisville.
That'd be awesome. So they love their experience here.
Yes, they did.
Crew. Now, what is this object?
This is like a bookend that my wife gave me from being involved with the Louisville Orchestra, and just someone playing a violin. And that was so outside of what I can't sing, I can't play anything, but I knew that the orchestra was important to this community, and especially since we don't have professional sports. Louisville has positioned itself as an arts town, and I used to kind of say tongue-in-cheek, when I was out raising money, I had the relocation guide, and in the second sentence it said Louisville's an arts town boasting an orchestra ballet. I said, if the orchestra goes bankrupt, we're going to have to print all new relocation guides. It's just easier to save the orchestra than to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I love this next question. Where do you see yourself at the end of your career, Joe? Granted, you're driving your own bus. I mean, what might you be doing if you walked away from the home building?
Well, actually, I do have a plan that I'm trying to transition to. I would like to be a motivational speaker, and I am already.
You're very good, by the way.
Speaking, and I have a speaker's website, josephpusateri.com. I thought I'd throw that in.
Hey,
I'd like to be a consultant, and it would be. I think the same principles that have been successful in our business, or that I have had success in nonprofit roles, could apply to any business. You just need to translate the same principles. And I may want to run for some office at some point. Since I was a kid, I always saw myself as actually as a child, I always thought I'd be president of the United States. I realize that's not going to happen. But on a more modest level, I have a desire to serve, and if in the right situation where I think I could make a difference, I might be inclined to do that.
Now, this question we ask all of our guests, young or older. It's how we end every interview. When the great day comes, Joe, how do you want to be remembered? God forbid you walk out of here, something befalls you. How do you want to be remembered?
Okay, well, in one of the talks I give, near the end, I talk about the movie It's a Wonderful Life that'll show right around Christmas. And Jimmy Stewart plays the character George Bailey. And near the end of the movie, he's on the bridge, and he's despondent, and he thinks his life is not counted for anything, and he's about to jump off.
Great movie.
And his guardian angel Clarence comes, and he says, "Oh, you've made a great difference." And so he lets him go back into the town and see how everything would have turned out if he did not live. And everything's different, and all these people's lives have turned out different. The town has a different name. It's Pottersville instead of Bedford Falls, and he sees the impact that just his life has had on that town. And you know, it kind of motivates me. I would like to think that when I leave, especially through my kids, that I've made a difference and changed the way everything turned out a little bit for the better.
Joe, I think you made a difference. I think you're going to continue to make a difference. It's quite a treat and a special honor to have you in this community. Thank you so much for being on Leadership Landscape. Really appreciate it. It's quite an honor. If you have any feedback, general comments, or recommendation for a suitable guest, feel free to email me at kurt.jacobs@louisvilleky.gov. Till next time on Leadership Landscape, I'm Kurt Jacobs. Thanks for watching.
Metro TV, a public service of Louisville Metro Government.